Alrighty, fight fans. UFC Fight Night London just took place. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. And I'm going through the whole card, giving my breakdown. I do picks and predictions every single week on every single fight card because I am an MMA fan, and I do these picks based on pure passion for the sport, as I don't normally bet on UFC fights. And you may notice I don't have a webcam. Webcam's not working for whatever reason. You know what? I don't blame it after watching what I just watched. Holy shit, this card was a fucking stinker. It had its moments, but for the most part, it was a pretty dog shit card. I think we can all agree there. England, what are we doing, lads? What are we doing? All of a sudden, Canada's not looking so soy. Just kidding. I know. My country is soy. I get it. But, yeah, this was a disappointment from the English, I'm not going to lie. But, with that being said, let's get into the card. Garam Kuteledze versus Caio Fernandes. I went with Garam. I'm going to say this right now also, spoiler alert, because this card was so dog shit. Yeah, picks did not go well. I'll leave my picks at the end, or close to the end when I break down the final few fights. But, yeah, went negative again. You know what? We had a good run. We had a bunch of winning streaks, but unfortunately, the London card was the one that broke it. It is what it is, you know? Fuck. Regardless, let's get back to the breakdown. Garam Kuteledze versus Caio Fernandes. I went with Garam. I thought Garam was good. Turns out Garam is actually dog shit. Caio Fernandes is actually pretty good. Very snappy kicks. Dropped Garam a few times, I think, in the beginning of round 1. I think he even dropped them in round 2. Did he? He might have even dropped them in round 3, to be honest. Caio looked really, really good. Very high pace. I thought he probably would have gassed out outside of round 1, given the speed he was going at. But man, it's actually sick. Didn't Caio lose to someone? And it was just like ooh, brother. No, he knocked out Yaya, that's what it was, right? An old man. And I was like, whatever. Yeah, kind of sucks. Garam sucks, and as we're about to find out, if you lose to Garam, you're an instant fade as a favorite. Moving on, Nathan Fletcher versus Callan Loughran, lad. Some people are calling robbery. I thought it was pretty close. And listen, man, round 1, Callan, I feel like won that pretty clear. He had more takedowns. He was more active, you know, and I get it. It's like Nathan Fletcher was probably up on the numbers, but Callan Loughran was way up on takedowns and, takedowns and control time. So, like, I mean, I get why he won round 1. Round 2, clear Nathan Fletcher. I'm pretty sure that's the round I'm thinking of. And round 3, while it is very close, Callan Loughran's takedowns, I think, give him an argument to win the fight, but I do think Nathan Fletcher probably should have got the nod, and even I picked Callan Loughran. And I still think Nathan Fletcher should have got the nod. Like, if you were to make me watch that fight and give me give an unbiased opinion, I'd probably give you Nathan Fletcher 9 out of 10 times I watch that fight. But, you know, there's an argument to be made. I think Callan won that fight. It is what it is. Sucks for Nathan Fletcher. You know, the Walmart version of Conor McGregor prevails. And, yeah, we're stuck with Loughran for a little longer. You know, a little nugget of a lad in bantamweight. Anyways, moving on. A little bit like Michael Chandler, if you think about it. Anyways, moving on. Shauna Banon versus Pooja. Don't care. Went with Shauna. The coin was right. It's important to note, you know, for women's fights, I know some people, they like to do, you know, they really think about all the things that have happened, the fighters' records, you know, they use the pick doctor like We Want Picks, you know, shout out to We Want Picks, I love their channel. But at the end of the day, you just flip a coin. That's what I do, baby. Hey, we went 1-on-1 on the coin flips. We take those. Moving on. We have Christian Leroy Duncan. I didn't even watch this fight, this woman's fight. I don't give a fuck about. Like, it was in the side of my peripheral, but I don't give a fuck about it. It's a woman's fight. Moving on. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Andrei Puliev. Christian Leroy Duncan whooped his ass for 3 rounds. Like, it was just a straight-on whooping. There was like maybe 1 or 2 times where it kind of got maybe 1 or 2 shots hurt Christian Leroy Duncan. Outside of that, it was pretty much a flawless performance for a middleweight fighter. You know, Christian Leroy Duncan fights the way I want Paulo Costa to fight. You know what I mean? Like, explosive, athletic, pushing forward. Like, that's the way I think Paulo Costa should be fighting. You know, so Leroy Duncan is like a more technical Paulo Costa, but with much less power. You know, because I do think Paulo Costa does still have power, even though he's probably like 34, whatever, however old he is now. But, you know, Christian Leroy Duncan, I actually think is a pretty good prospect moving on. You know, he might be able to beat Gregory Rodriguez in a 5-round fight. Moving on, we have Marcin Tybura versus Mick Parkin. I went with Mick Parkin. Hey, robbery, boys. What can I say? Hey, you know, Knights of the Robbery. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, you know, some people have been saying it's a robbery. I personally think Mick Parkin won the first round, and I do believe Mick Parkin won the second round. I think Marcin Tybura I think Parkin won round 2 and 3. Round 1 was kind of close, but I think Tybura won that. He secured the takedown at the end, I believe. I think that's what won him the round. At the very end of round 1, but other than that, it was kind of close competitively. You'll see these numbers and probably think back and be like, man, that was such a fucking robbery. All these numbers are pretty much from round 2, where Marcin Tybura was on bottom and Mick Parkin was laying it into him. To be fair, it was a close fight, in my opinion. However, I saw the odds before the odds, well, I guess I should say I saw on X or Twitter, whatever the fuck you want to call it, whatever that site is. You know, I saw he was a plus 500 underdog before they announced the decision for Marcin Tybura. So, I don't know if the odds makers were maybe on crack. I don't know if... I don't know what happened during this fight, but they gave it to Marcin Tybura. I don't think it was a blatant robbery. I do think it's a better argument than I guess a later fight we'll get into. But it is kind of like a ugh. You know, he shouldn't have got that win. That's my personal opinion. Moving on, Loner Kavanagh versus Felipe Dos Santos. Some people are saying this one was a robbery as well. I think Loner Kavanagh just landed the better shots. Even though Felipe did really good in round 1, Loner kind of brought it back in round 2 and 3. You know, nice dominant positions on top. Felipe's very easy to take down. You know, there's a lot of moments where Loner Kavanagh was just like out-muscling him. Which is a little weird because he's like the shorter dude. But it's flyweight, so at the end of the day, you are only lifting like 130 pounds maximum, so it's not like that unrealistic to lift someone up. But yeah, sick fight, great fight, probably fight of the night if I had to wager, just because of how high pace it was, and all these other fights were dog shit. Yeah, got this one right. Finally, moving on. You know, if there wasn't robberies, I'm just saying, guys, I would have got the picks right. Moving on, Jai Herbert versus Chris Padilla. I picked Chris Taco Padilla just because Jai Herbert sucks, and turns out they don't both suck, right? But Taco Padilla, right? Brother, what are we doing in round 1 and 2 just staring at him? You know? Like, do something, you know? Get in there, you know? Make the round clear. Like, if Chris Padilla ended up losing this fight via 29-28 split decision, I think it would have been a robbery, but I also would have been like, yo, brother, you literally stared at him for a whole round. You know what I mean? Like, get in there, do something, make it clear, so they have something to score on the scorecards, you know? But yeah, round 1 and 2, boring as fuck. Round 3 was pretty nice, but other than that, it was just boring. Fucking hugging, walking away, running away, just boring. Moving on to the main card. I got that one right, by the way. Moving on to the main card, Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charrier. You know, I give Morgan a lot of credit for the war he went with Chepe Mariscal. Holy shit, Nathaniel Wood looked like the fucking prime of England in this fight. Jesus Christ. He looked like Aspinall at featherweight, you know? Only like, Aspinall fused with Sean Woodson. Little bit of a freakazoid. But Nathaniel Wood gets it done, drops Morgan Charrier very bad in round 1, dominates round 2, and whoops his ass, like, literally schools him for, the next 2 rounds after dropping him, you know? That drop was very bad. You know, there's a good argument he was fucking put out in that drop. Sick. It would have been a sick finish, but sick fight, I guess, overall. Way better than the previous. But yeah, sick for Nathaniel Wood. Happy for Nathaniel Wood. I'm a Nathaniel Wood fan, man. You know, but I thought Morgan Charrier had a little bit more going into him, you know? Even though his record's not that good, he just fights, like, good fights most of the time. But I guess XXX Tentacion fucking from France couldn't get it done. Really sucks, but I'm happy for my boy Nathaniel Wood, you know? Represented the country proudly, alright? Moving on to someone who didn't represent their country too proudly, Jordan Vucenic, eh? Minus 500 before the fight started. Just wanted to point that out. Guess Chris Duncan. Scotland forever, lad. Yeah. I think I have Scottish descent in me. If I don't, I take it all back. But Chris Duncan whooped Jordan Vucenic's ass. Dropped him really, really bad in round 1. Not as bad as Morgan Charrier, but it was dropped pretty bad. And then in round 2, he just latched up a fucking, I think it was a guillotine. You know, pussies, you know, only pussies tap the guillotines, as we've learned from Vitor Petrino. Very Vitor Petrino performance from him. Yikes, man. What a heavy favorite to go in and get shit on, you know? And I know once I saw Garam lose, I was like, ooh, Jordan Vucenic's, I'm not sure how this fight's gonna go, because Chris Duncan actually ain't that bad. He got submitted, right? That's what it was? Yeah, he got submitted in round 1. Yeah, so that's why I didn't fucking pick him, because I thought Manuel Torres sucks, and his grappling isn't that good, so I'm like, no way. No way Chris Duncan's gonna have that good of a ground game. Turns out, he's got a way better ground game. You know, so it is what it is. Moving on, Molly McCann fight. Nobody gives a fuck. Coin got it wrong. 1-1 on women's fights, aka 1-1 on coin flips. It is what it is. Molly McCann sucks. She retired. She does fucking suck. I'm sorry, Patty. You can knock me out, submit me in public. Molly McCann literally is dog shit, and she retires because she's dog shit. Like, it's one thing to lose, but to retire, like, this is very Jalen Turner-esque. Like, to retire because you lost, I get it. Like, your contract is up. Let yourself get fired. You know, you doing this, like, grandstand, oh, I'm gonna do this and that, I'm gonna retire from fighting, you know? Oh, I quit before getting fired. It's so, like, that's just pussy. It's just very pussy of someone to do that. You know, just saying. You know, you already know you're gonna get fired because of how shit you were. You know? It's literally only your fault. I get it, you're getting offered these fights and everything, but it's literally like, brother, learn how to fucking defend a takedown, please. Anyways, moving on. Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland. I thought this fight was really close. Maybe it wasn't. I'd have to watch it back, maybe. But I thought this fight was really, really close. And I was shocked to see so many people unanimously give Kevin Holland the win. I just thought round 1, Gunnar Nelson was doing really well. Obviously, when he got dropped and then he was about to be finished, like, that's a really bad look. But before then, he was pretty much dominating most of the round. And then round 2 was pretty rough. Round 3, it got really close in moments. You know, but Gunnar Nelson had a lot of control time, you know. 3 out of 10 takedowns, not too bad. Submission attempt, you know. Kevin Holland was on bottom for a while. I don't know. I'm curious to see what the control time numbers are going to be for this fight. I thought Gunnar Nelson was fucking... It's crazy how... If Gunnar Nelson's last name was Gunnar Nurmagomedov or Gunnar Alaskarov or whatever the fuck, he probably wins this fight. But unfortunately, couldn't get it done because judges just don't like anyone other than an Ov getting control time. So it is what it is. Moving on, we have Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. This fight, I think, is a blatant robbery. I think this fight is comparable to Volkov versus Cyril Gane. That fight was a complete robbery. I think this fight's a complete robbery. I think there's a better argument for Jan Blachowicz to win all 3 rounds than there is for Carlos Ulberg to win a 29-28. That's just my honest take. Round 1, very, very close, don't get me wrong. However, if we're going on damage-based scoring, Jan Blachowicz should take it. He landed way harder. Out of, I think it was 18 to 22 on the live strikes. It might be different here. 18 being Jan Blachowicz. Regardless, it was close on strikes. And like 4 or 5 strikes aren't going to make up the difference of Jan Blachowicz landing clean with everything. Leg kicks, fucking blasted, checking, most of Carlos Ulberg's leg kicks. Actually, he checked, I think, every heavy leg kick that Carlos Ulberg went for that wasn't a tappy point kick. It was checked by Jan Blachowicz, especially in round 1. You know, maybe the later rounds it was a little different, but Jan Blachowicz checked nearly every leg kick that Carlos Ulberg threw in the first round, and landed flush on the chin a few times, and landed nasty low kicks of his own, so much that there was a mark on the leg. There's a few facial marks on Carlos Ulberg. Moving into round 2, I thought it was a clear Jan Blachowicz round. I don't know what the scorecard said. I thought it was clear as day a Jan Blachowicz round. Not only did Jan Blachowicz outstrike Ulberg in terms of numbers, but also landed the better shots than Ulberg. And also, let's not forget that Ulberg was literally on the back foot the whole fucking fight, running around, you know? It's crazy how people will, like, shit talk Youssef Zalal for running around against, what was his recent opponent? It wasn't Dan Ige, was it? Who was it? Who did Youssef Zalal just fight? Featherweight. Wasn't Lerone Murphy. It wasn't Edson Barbosa. Who was it? Now I'm pissed off because I can't remember this. UFC. Yusuf. Got it. Not you. Is it? Yeah, not Sadiq Yusuf. Oops, Yusuf Zalal. Lol. Who did he just fight? The fuck? What? Uh-huh. It wasn't that fight, bro. What? Yusuf Zalal? Can I get a record here, please? What the fuck? Calvin Cater, that's what it was. I'm like, it was someone in featherweight who was, like, decently named. Anyways. Yeah. It's crazy how people shit talk shit that Yusuf Zalal does by literally running around an octagon when it's literally 1-to-1 what Carlos Ulberg did. But the difference is Jan Blachowicz clearly outlanded in the second. In round 1, he landed the better shots, did get technically outlanded, and in the third round, the striking, in my opinion, again, don't know the official stats, but it was probably pretty fucking close, and I recognize that Jan Blachowicz did get cut near his eye, but Carlos Ulberg also had a cut in his fucking shin from leg kicks, but I guess we don't count that. We only count the small eye cut that lasted about 30 seconds in the whole fight, rather than the hole in the man's leg that was there from bell to bell. But okay, I guess we count that. You know, and then Carlos Ulberg, half of his strikes were taps. At least half, maybe even more. Most of his strikes were just little taps, little pitter-patter, 1-2s, you know, fucking, what else did he did? He landed a few, he landed a few good body shots, to be fair, but I don't think he landed flush once on the chin, and literally everything Jan Blachowicz threw was full power, and every single strike he landed was full power strikes. There was maybe 1 or 2 times where he landed like a pussy low kick. Other than that, everything else was full power strength. He should have got this decision, you know? Like, I just, in my eyes, on this whole card, I think this is the most blatant robbery. That's my personal opinion. You know, there's a few fights that you could argue otherwise, but I think this was, like, clear as day, an open robbery. But yeah, anyways, moving on to the main event, Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. Sean Brady, you know, what can I say? Hey, I predicted it perfectly, guys. I did pick Leon Edwards. I said it was going to be a close 3-2. It wasn't. I recognize that, but I did say I wouldn't be shocked if Sean Brady goes out there, lays on Leon Edwards, gets dominant position, and just fucking whoops him, pretty much, and is up on numbers in terms of striking and everything. You know, there's a few moments where it looked like Leon Edwards even got wobbled. You know, so I think it's time for Leon Edwards to be that stepping stone for the Carlos protest, for the Brian battles on the come up. You know, yeah, Leon Edwards just don't got it anymore, you know? He's getting picked up, dunked on his head, even though he's got fucking wrist control, which dunking on the head is illegal, but I guess, you know, when Bilal does it, it's okay for some reason. But yeah, you know, disappointed from Leon Edwards. That performance was dog shit. I didn't think he would have the same performance he had against Bilal. He did. He's just not there. Leon Edwards, he literally just, he has nothing there anymore. You know, there's no heart, there's no striking, there's no technique behind things he does anymore. It is just like, survive, wait for them to make a mistake. You know, and that's kind of how he's always won fights, pretty much. You know, he scaved away a little too easy for too long. But yeah, so Sean Brady gets it done. Happy for Sean Brady. I'm not like an anti-Sean Brady fan. You know, I'm just more of a fan of like Gilbert Burns over Sean Brady. But, you know, I don't mind Sean Brady. His one loss ever is Bilal Muhammad TKO, which looks like absolute horsecock. But Sean Brady is like the real deal. He's really good. You know, he is JDM's nightmare. He would take JDM down and lay on him for 5 rounds. No doubt about it whatsoever. You know, so, yeah. At the end of the day, it's night. This card was dog shit. This has been my breakdown of the whole card. Pretty uneventful, pretty sad. A lot of decisions. London really fucked up a lot of these English fighters. Not saying I'm worried about Tom Aspinall, but, you know, maybe Tom Aspinall gets it done in 3 instead of 2, you know? Maybe Aspinall takes a little bit longer to play with his food. But with all that being said, I want to thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video. I do breakdowns on every single fight, every single week, so hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you want to see my predictions and MMA content. I also do content on a lot of things I'm passionate about, aka just mainly video games, and maybe drama-related stuff just because it's funny. But yeah. Other than that, I just want to thank you for watching, making it all the way to the end of this video, and as always, I hope you have. Just imagine the webcam showing my jawline right now. A good day.